There being 94 members present, a quorum is not present.
Second consecutive day, the Texas House cannot meet. There are not enough representatives in the Texas House, as many House Democrats left Austin over the big redistricting showdown.
And since the House tried to meet, there have been a lot of headlines that have popped out of this and now getting national attention. So just before 5:30, Governor Greg Abbott announced he is suing to have the lead Democrat in the House, which is Houston Representative Gene Wu, removed from office.
Just after 4 o'clock this afternoon, President Trump weighed in on the debate, saying that it is possible the FBI may get involved to round up House Democrats who left for Illinois, New York, and Massachusetts.
Earlier, if you missed it around 1:30, Attorney General Ken Paxton announced his own plans to try and remove House Democrats who also left Austin. The person who knows far more about this than us is political reporter Jack Fink. He's with us now, and I know there's so much going on and it's happening so quickly.
Yeah, we know you've been on the phone talking to your sources through the day. So let's start with the latest news tonight, and that is the governor's effort to remove House Democratic Caucus Chair Gene Wu.
Well, Doug and Nicole, Governor Abbott filed this 29-page emergency petition at the Texas Supreme Court to remove Democratic State Representative Gene Wu of Houston. He's the chairman of the House Democratic Caucus, and Abbott called Wu, quote, the ringleader of the derelict Democrats who fled the state to break quorum. Now, the governor filed this at the state's highest court because this is uncharted legal territory. There are no previous cases filed in lower courts, and Abbott wants the Supreme Court to rule on this by 5 o'clock on Thursday, in 2 days. Now, in his petition, the governor said, quote, what is at stake here? Nothing less than the future of Texas. If a small fraction of recalcitrant lawmakers choose to run out the clock today, they can do so for any and every regular or special session, potentially bankrupting the state in an attempt to get their way. Now, we do know that Governor Wu is also accused by the governor of forfeiting his office by leaving the state and saying that this was planned in the event that the special session included redrawing congressional districts to give Republicans 5 more seats in Texas. And one thing to point out here is that the state constitution does allow for lawmakers to break quorum, to leave the state. And something else that I think is interesting to note here is that the court is going to have to consider whether abandoning office or forfeiting one's office can be done in just 2 days, because remember, this is just day 2 where the quorum has been broken. And one thing we know is that moments ago, the Texas House Democratic Caucus chair responded to Governor Abbott's lawsuit. This is what Gene Wu had to say, saying, quote, when a governor conspires with a disgraced president to ram through a racist gerrymandered map, my constitutional duty is to not be a willing participant. Denying the governor a quorum was not an abandonment of my office. It was a fulfillment of my oath.
So jump in with some questions, and we have a few, to say the least, tonight. So what the governor did, it sounds similar to what Attorney General Ken Paxton announced around 1:30 this afternoon. He said he's going to use the courts to try and get some Democrats out of the office. What can you say in regards to all of that? Legally, where do we stand?
Well, that is the same legal process that Attorney General Ken Paxton discussed today when he warned House Democrats if they don't return to the Texas Capitol by this Friday, he will seek to remove them from office as well. So Doug and Nicole and everybody, get used to hearing this. It is called a writ of quo warranto. It is rarely used, but Governor Abbott and the Attorney General have said this is the legal avenue that they have to remove legislators from office legally. Now, Republicans are playing hardball to discourage Democrats from leaving the state, but ultimately, this may very well be left up to the Texas voters to decide.
Well, President Trump was also asked this afternoon about a letter that Texas Senator John Cornyn sent to FBI Director Kash Patel this morning. He wanted the FBI to see if they could help round up Democrats who have left the state. Want to listen to what the president had to say about that?
Well, they may have to. They may have to. No, I know they want him back. Not only the Attorney General, the governor wants him back. If you look, I mean, the governor of Texas is demanding they come back. So a lot of people are demanding they come back. You can't just sit it out. You have to go back. You have to fight it out. That's what elections are all about.
Now, even earlier today, the president did say during an interview with CNBC that Republicans are entitled to 5 more seats in Texas. Jack, we know there's the threat of the FBI, but you've also learned that DPS was activated this evening as well.
Well, they've been actually actively trying to locate House Democrats who haven't shown up at the Texas Capitol. And so, but they're really only trying to find those lawmakers who they still believe are in the state of Texas. And that's because DPS doesn't have the authority to travel out of state to Illinois, New York, and Massachusetts, where the Democrats went, and bring them back to the state. But they do have that authority to do that if lawmakers are still in the Lone Star State. The Texas Constitution gives both the House and the Senate the authority to physically restrain members and return them to the Texas Capitol.
And then there's the House. They don't have, obviously, enough numbers to conduct their business, and that includes, voila, the vote on redistricting, which is exactly why we are in the moment we are right now. So technically, what's next for the House? I would think they can't do anything, right?
Well, the Speaker of the House, Dustin Burrows, said today that he is hoping there will be enough Democrats who return so that they can have a quorum on Friday at 1 p.m. Now, today they fell short of a quorum again for the second day. They need 100 lawmakers. They only had 96. So Friday, 1 p.m. is this new deadline. And if there is a quorum, the House may proceed right then and there with the vote on the newly drawn congressional districts in Texas.
I know we've said it. The Democrats are not here. Where are they? Where were they today?
Well, they were still in Illinois, meeting with the Democratic governor and with the head of the Democratic National Committee. That was in Chicago. And the Democrats say they are fighting against Republicans and serving their constituents at the same time. They say they are doing what the people they represent want. And then it was a similar scene in Boston this afternoon. Some House members and some Texas state senators met with the Democratic governor there. Senators are showing their support for their House colleagues. And the Texas Senate did not hold a session today, so they were free to be in Massachusetts. The state Senate, though, is going to be back in session tomorrow, where they will consider legislation. And even if they pass those bills, they may not go anywhere, because if the House doesn't have a quorum, then lawmakers in that chamber cannot meet, and one chamber cannot approve and it be signed into law. You need both the Senate and the House to pass bills before the governor can sign them into law. And
we are literally now clocking in on 8 minutes into this newscast, and we have finally fully explained what the heck has been going on the last couple of days. Jack Fink, thank you very kindly. A situation we continue to watch.
Yeah, really good breakdown. By the way, we're not getting off the story anytime soon. CBS Texas will bring you the very latest as the story continues to unfold. We'll do that on air, and we're always streaming. Just keep that in mind. CBSNewsTexas.com.